Hello everybody, welcome back to ATCB, where we're playing a kind of weird instructional semi-co-op thing of Europa Universalis IV. I'm the Bastard, and I'm joined by him, Neill.
Hello, this is him, Neill.
Otherwise known as the Brute of Burgundy. Yes, the Butcher of Burgundy, or something, I don't know. Because I'm the dickhead of Denmark, I have no idea. It seems a legit historical notion. So in our first episode, we didn't press play at all because I was too busy being thoroughly intimidated. I will say this, Neill, I am genuinely intimidated by this game.
It's good.
Yeah. Is there any orders you think I need to set going before we press play, or does how's the micro necessity in this game? Like, am I ever going to get punished for not clicking fast enough?
No, because you can just pause it.
Okay.
Carry on the speed.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, for a start, I'm going to start my second army moving towards Blacking. In fact, I'm going to get all my troops moving towards Blacking. Will they be able to? They'll be able to cross Orison because it's got a dash line, right? Same as CK2. Like, they don't need a transport
Orison?
ship.
Oh, you can move Lund to
that's fine. Cool. They're all going to Blacking then, and I'll get my first fleet. Also going to port in Blacking. Okay.
Sure. I would obviously you don't have a lot of control over this, but I would try to win the siege for Gotland within the first few months. You don't have much control over this.
I'll do my very best.
Just because, from my metagaming knowledge of playing around here, the Teutonic Order will get attacked quite quickly, and you
and rather than go to war with Poland, I can Yeah, well, it's not just that, but it'd be just be easier to take them. Okay. Well, all I can do is what I can do. So, I mean, the other option, I guess, is that I just ignore the rebels until I've taken Danzig.
Well, the thing is, the rebels in Gotland are Danish pretender rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say this for sure because my memory is a bit rusty, but I think if the pretender rebels win, you gain another king, and your subjects don't.
Right.
Which would mean you'd stop being in a personal union.
Okay. Well, then I'll go kill rebels.
I know that's what happens if either Norway or Sweden get pretender rebels. You have to help them.
Okay.
Because they will get a new king because of you. But I can't remember what happens when you're the senior partner and it happens. But either way, let's
press play. I have no doubt that something will happen as soon as play gets pressed.
We are pressing play in 3, 2, 1.
Oh God! Yeah, nothing's happened. Other than my troops starting to move.
And for some excitement for you, something exciting is about to happen.
Oh! Royal marriage offer. Are you proposing to me, Neill?
I'm proposing to you, yes.
Good Lord. I've never been happier. I've accepted. The Swedes might be moving towards Gotland. Or at least their ship is moving in that rough direction.
They're moving north, so...
Kind of monkeying around nearby as well. Okay, I now have... how do I go about... Because I want to put 10k in one army, not... So I want to get my second army. Do I have to attach to a transport? Or can I just kind of right-click on it?
There's another option. If you click on... Oh, I can't remember the option. I think if you select one of the stacks, or both the stacks, and you right-click on... Oh, wait, don't move anything. Don't touch anything.
Yeah, they're being attacked. Are they being attacked? Oh,
no. Rebels automatically teleport. Relocate.
Oh,
teleport.
Hang on. I've got an influential preacher. Send him to Rome, or he'll make a nice bishop.
It's entirely up to you.
Oh, do I want papal influence, or do I want prestige? I don't know. Well, I'm not going for the prestige thing, so I'll get papal influence. Done. Okay.
But if you mouse over the rebels in Gotland, it says they're relocating. Well, if you mouse over the arrow underneath the rebels,
sure,
they're relocating to Gonj.
Okay.
Butchering that pronunciation, I'm sure. Now, what you may have noticed is that Gonj is right next to you.
Oh, they're coming for me.
Yes.
Because
so
they're
if you
idiots.
Just merge your army.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you merge your armies back together and then wait.
Put them in Gonj, or
No.
No, because that'll change where they come in. Okay.
Yeah. So as soon as they land, attack them, and then you can send over your troops over to Gotland at your leisure, and you can besiege.
Yeah. After I've
unimpeded.
Okay, then. That's fine by me. They're getting too big for their boots. They think they can take the Royal Danish Army. Oh, I've got a diplomat back. So I'm going to send him to Sweden.
Yes, that sounds very sensible.
In relations actions, improve relation.
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Because I don't want Sweden getting uppity just yet. Apologies to Sweden. Ooh, the House of Skeel. Is this our marriage?
Maybe.
Maybe to everlasting friendship. With the union of Christopher III and Margaret. Oh no, I've got married apparently, presumably to you. We've gained not only a spouse but also a new ally in the realm. The Skeel is an old and influential family, and their seat in Halland is a jewel of the kingdom. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. So
what happens is, with the Rights of Man expansion, you can have a consort. That gives you a variety of events. Oh, and you can attack them in Gonj now.
And I've got an heir. Oh, hang on. Pause. I have an heir called Wilhelm.
Wilhelm von Wittelsbach.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
So
yeah.
What happens is you can get a consort.
Yeah.
Consorts can either spawn as soon when you get a royal marriage. There's like a 25% chance you'll get a consort. But if you haven't had a consort for a while and you have lots of royal marriages, one will randomly spawn from within your realm.
Okay.
And they can have different events from that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I will pause it as soon as you get into battle. In fact, I'll unpause it now very quickly.
Yeah,
if
I am marching.
Look at the distance between them. There is a bit with a pair of swords and a water and a negative and a minus symbol. That means you're crossing a crossing because there's a river. And the swords mean, and this is coming to CK2 in the next patch. This means that a battle will occur in that province unless something happens.
Yeah, on 19th of February. Okay.
So if they move out and the cross swords disappear, if they move out and the cross swords disappear, that means you won't catch them. Okay. Now you have a locked symbol. And
got it.
So there's a variety of different things. Now I'm just going to pause it to explain battle for you.
Okay.
Apologies, viewers. There's more setup.
Ooh, I like the it actually has like ranks and stuff.
Yes,
exactly. Neat. So, I might have to click away from this because this is incredibly loud in my ears.
You're going to click away from it?
No, it's fine. I'll just tolerate it. It's fine.
Do we just lower the volume?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yeah, I'll wait to lower the volume and then I'll resume.
Okay, that'll do. I don't want to lower... It's a tricky thing, viewers. I don't want to lower the volume enough that you can hear my PC fans any louder than you are. Okay, that's far more tolerable. Please do continue.
Okay. Right. So, ignore the rank for a moment. I'll explain the stats. Every battle is a series of 2 phases. The fire phase and the shock phase. Each phase lasts for a number of days that I've forgotten. I think it's 7 or 12 or something like that. During the fire phase, you gain a bonus to your attack based on your fire stat.
Right.
In the shock phase, you gain a bonus relative to your shock stat. And then each phase, a die is rolled, which affects performance. In this phase, you have rolled 0.
Yep.
And you have a crossing penalty to your roll of -1. So your roll is -1. They have rolled 9. That's considerably better than 0.
Yes.
And they have a fire bonus of 1. That's because your fire general has 1, and your general has a fire of 1, and their general has a fire of 2.
Okay.
So they gain 1 from the difference.
I would like to object to their ability to roll a 9 on what appears to be a 6-sided die.
Yes, it's just lies. It's just lies. Ignore it.
Yeah.
You can see the general stats if you mouse over the gloves. So your general is 1-2-2. Theirs is 2-1-2-1.
Okay.
So we're on the fire phase. They gain a bonus because they have a better fire.
Sure, but I should have a better shock phase than them. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Exactly. But you'll still have a slight penalty for crossing.
Sure.
Other stats. So there's a symbol with a whip and a trio of men, that is discipline. Discipline increases the damage you do and decreases the damage you take. That increases, it's just flat bonus. The most powerful nations in the world, like Japan and Prussia, have very high bonuses. So Prussia can easily get 40% discipline, which makes them much more powerful than other nations.
Yeah.
Discipline just affects basically everything in combat. Morale is the next stat, that is your morale. When your morale reaches 0, you flee. Morale is decreased for losing units and for taking damage. So it's quite possible to gain units which won't die in a battle, but will cause people to rout, which will flee. So it's important to have for both. The next one is your military tactics. Your military tactics, I think it reduces the damage you take, and it's mainly a tech thing. There's basically nothing you can do to increase your military tactics aside from that. Then it lists your troop types to the right. You've got infantry, and then you have cavalry, and you have cannons. Artillery. If your cavalry if you mouse over cavalry, if you have too many cavalry, you gain quite a big penalty.
Right.
So that's basically if you have. It depends on the nation, but for most Western nations, if you have more than 50% of your army as cavalry, then you start taking a penalty.
Which they do.
No, you have a third of your army.
No, they do.
No, they don't, because it's a third of your army, not a third of the infantry. So they have 40% of their army as cavalry. So if you
right, okay.
But, yeah. Some nations, hordes can have 100% cavalry, and lots of Eastern nations can get like 60%, but most of those are stuck with 50%. So because of that, I try and stick to only a few cavalry. Now, that's the basics. Now if we go to these flanks, X's are infantry, slashes are cavalry. If you mouse over the units, you can see who they're attacking. And they're attacking the units right in front of them. But cavalry can also flank by a couple of steps. So if your infantry is too far away from the front line, i.e. too far to left or right, they won't be able to attack. But cavalry can attack from a greater distance. So if you mouse over the furthest right slash on your line, you can see they're hitting one unit. If you move over one, they're hitting two. They could hit 2 units. So that's the maximum flanking distance. So the infantry, any infantry or anything added onto the right of that won't be able to hit it. So it's always a good idea to have a couple of cavalry in your army, so that if your infantry line gets wider than theirs, you can flank them a little.
Okay.
Do
I have any control over this flanking nonsense now? Okay.
No. Once you get some battles, you have no control. It's all down to a general and get people in place. Frontline units can only attack other frontline units. So, so the second rank is useless. But once the front line dies, they'll move to replace it automatically.
Sure.
So you have a massive advantage because you have a wider line, and therefore you can flank them. So you have a significant advantage. Yep. But all your other troops doesn't confer any other benefit in the battle. Sure. So you can see that you have 6 units in the back line. They're doing nothing, and they won't do anything until you start dying. Which
is, realistic. I mean, you can only engage on so wide a front at any one point.
Exactly. So generally speaking, the best idea of an army composition is to always make sure that your army is either A, bigger than the enemy, or B, it's the size of the maximum combat width, which is determined by technology.
Right.
Artillery sits in the back line and fires through your front line.
Okay.
So when you get artillery, you want to have maximum combat width for artillery and maximum combat width of infantry and cavalry, and that's how you do it.
Okay.
And that's how battle works. So if I unpause it, you can see that things start moving about a bit, morale starts going, you're losing a level up morale because they got ridiculous. We've got a shot, we've got a change, so you've got 6-1 now, whereas they got 1.
That's a lot better.
But also you can see they're dying at quite a heavy rate.
Yes, and ultimately I can just afford... I might be dying a lot, but I can afford those deaths a lot more than they can.
Yes. And also you've had fewer deaths. They've had 5k, you've had 3k. And you have more to lose.
They had a good first fire round, but the shock really is screwing them.
Exactly. So that's fundamentally what combat is about. Cavalry are more expensive than infantry, and generally, and now you can follow them to Blacking.
Yep.
They have a
I am
counter
going to catch
retreat,
them.
which is that white flag, but you can catch them, and you might instantly stack wipe them if you catch an enemy when they're on too low morale.
Oh, and my morale took a huge leap, I'm assuming, because I won the battle. Whoop,
Your
I've wiped
morale
them.
kind of resets. Yeah, so you get a stack wipe if you outnumber someone by too great a margin.
Okay.
You can also stack wipe them if you...
Oh,
I think if you could...
I have a thing that's probably worth pausing over. The state of Denmark. Ever since the Treaty of Kalmar in 1397, it has been stipulated that the crowns of Norway, Sweden and Denmark rest on one head. Denmark is the seat of this union, the dominant state in the north, and a would-be contender to the influence of the Hanseatic League. Newly crowned Christopher III has not inherited a Baltic Empire, however. His predecessor was deposed after having been defeated by the Hanseatics and now leads a life as a pirate on Gotland in the middle of the Baltic Sea. Excellent. While the recently introduced sound toll is a great source of income, the Crown has also been forced to pawn many of its lands to the major noble families of Thott, Guildenstern, Rosenkrantz, Ronau, Frill to pay for the many expenses of keeping the Union together in the failed wars of our predecessors. If we are to prevent royal power from weakening, we must get that land back by any means possible. I am assuming here that the update to Denmark has introduced... I'm assuming these events are like a thing that only certain nations have to do with historical events?
Yes, so there's loads of events that can happen that are inspired by history when you meet certain steps, and then there are other events that are outright historical statements.
Sure.
Like this one.
And I'm assuming this is the kind of stuff that's been added in the Denmark update.
Yes, so each of the updates over the last years added different events to different countries. And then, of course, lots of them came with the release of the game.
Okay. So I've got
Denmark gained a lot more.
Sure. So I've got two choices. I've got nobility must aid and advice, never rule. I gain 116 ducats. I get +1 national unrest, but plus 10% national tax modifier. I get 11 noble for until 1460, so 15 years.
Okay.
I have 11 noble regiments rise up in Lund, 7 noble regiments rise up in Halland. The nobility estate loses 10 loyalty, which is currently 50, and Lund will no longer be under the control of nobility. I'm assuming a regiment is 1,000.
Yes.
Right. The rebels that rise up would now outnumber me by 1,000.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably defeat them if they're in 2 stacks, but I'd be tempted to not pick the rebel option.
Yeah. The nobles. The other option is the nobles carry this kingdom on their shoulders. We must give them what they are owed. I get crown lands lost for 15 years, which gives me a national tax modifier of -10%. But I gain 1 stability, and the nobility estate gains 10 loyalty.
I would take that, because I was actually still leaning towards the first one for a while was the money, but stability is really quite useful, and it costs you administrative...
I'm correct if I say you said that kind of affects everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and gaining stability costs you admin points.
Right.
And admin points are worth more than money.
Sure.
You know, to a reasonable conversion.
Yeah.
But
so it's also saving me the admin points I'd get from spending them on stability, right? It's a hidden benefit. Effectively, yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I'm happy to take that. I will be nice to my nobles. I also want to be able to put down these rebels. So, yeah. So my armies merge there to 16k. So how do I... Is there any easy way for me to just get them to load onto the boats?
I can't remember if you have to enable something or not, but if you click on your army in Blacking, and then just right-click on Gotland, they might automatically move.
Would you like to use the first fleet to automatically transport? Yes. Cool.
And then it will split your army as well. So it'll split them into the...
I'm just walking. I just seem to be kind of... Oh, I see. So my army is marching to Kalmar, which presumably is not a problem because...
It's closer,
and also they're Swedish. And it looks like the fleet is moving up and round, and then they're going to transport over. I would assume that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and it will split into 2 units. It'll move them, and then the other...
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Although I would probably only move... When it does split off, I'd just...
Just keep the others where they are. Just move them away.
Yeah, because you suffer attrition whilst besieging.
Sure.
And there's no point suffering more attrition than you need to.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I was saying something briefly. Yes, that's right. You can stack wipe someone if you massively outnumber them.
Right.
I think it's like 10 to 1. Or if within the first 3 alternate rounds of combat, so fire shock, if you reduce their morale to 0, they get stack wiped then as well.
Right. Okay.
So if you can catch someone up who's fleeing, you can stack wipe them, even if you might
literally represents an entire round, essentially. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. This seems, a bit more. Did I just get some troops back? Is that a thing?
Yes, they are recovering. Yes,
right.
they're recovering,
okay.
especially because they recover past your territory. In fact, if you look at the very top of the stuff next to your ducats is your manpower.
Right.
You have a certain amount of manpower. You gain manpower every month.
Okay.
And when your troops need reinforcing, they come out of that manpower pool.
Yeah. I'm currently automatically blockading Gotland, which is good.
Yep. Which means that when you've been in a long, protracted war, you can't reinforce, so you have no more manpower. I'm always quite amused that EU4 has a much simpler troop representation system than CK2, which is vastly overcomplicated, and it's more fun.
Yeah.
With those amount of troops, I think CK2 just added too many types.
Right, I'm going to... Right, well, this is actually a thing, because what it transported didn't include my general.
That's fine. Your general doesn't have any siege bonus.
He doesn't have any siege bonus anyway, yeah. Oh, Lithuania is no longer a valid rival for me.
Yes, I'm just going to pause it briefly.
Okay.
You may have seen that there's an event a moment ago saying...
Yes, I did see a thing.
Jagalion. That's because, as happened kind of in real life, Poland elected the Grand Duke of Lithuania as its king.
Right.
Which means that Lithuania is now subject to Poland.
Oh, okay.
It also means that Poland is now a great power.
Okay.
So you will need to pick a new rival now because Lithuania is no longer valid.
Okay, that's fine. And also something about France and Maine. That's fine.
Yes, I'm now kicking myself because I forgot to fabricate a claim on England, so I'm going to do that now very quickly.
Okay.
Because...
who would you recommend as another rival? Teutonic Order?
Who are your options?
Oh no, sorry, I didn't. No possible rivals. Oh no,
you have no
Sweden.
possible rivals.
There, that's Sweden. What am I doing? Court? No. What's happening?
What are you doing?
I don't know. It's going to diplomacy and going straight to Sweden.
Right. Yes. If you do that, click on the very bottom right button on that gump, which is a kind of a map.
Open the diplomacy view for your own country. Got it. So no rival selected. It's either Hungary or Scotland.
I mean, it's up to you. Don't really care.
Don't really care. Okay. Well, I'll go with Scotland because I don't think they're likely to do anything to me, basically.
No, not really.
So I'll do that. That's fine. Done.
Cool. Now, I completely forgot to fabricate claims on England, so I'm going to do that now and hopefully jump on the back.
Yeah, I'm assuming that my army's just going to basically take Gotland quite easily because there's no opposing force.
Yeah, it's just basically a matter of time.
Yeah, that's fine.
In fact, if you click on the province, you can see the siege. Yeah. So, basically, you get a number of modifiers, and that affects a die roll, a d14. Every whatever time period, 29 days currently, you'll gain a bonus. So some sieges can last years because they've got a really strong fort and you have no cannons, and you're just waiting for it to tick up.
This is very similar to CK2, really.
Yeah, cool. But much more transparent in this case.
Sure.
Because you can see that there's a die roll. Yeah. Siege pips directly correlate to a bonus here, as do a number of cannons and so on. It's
we've gained the humiliate rival casus belli against Scotland.
Yes.
If we take Lothian. But we've lost it against Lithuania. Well, yeah, obviously. So I assume when in my own territory, my regiments just slowly refill back to there.
Yes, in fact, they will refill in enemy territory as well, but it's just slower.
Okay. Is there anything I should be doing with the army I've got at home? Like, is there any advantage to moving them to any particular area?
No. Okay, in fact, where they are now is probably good.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll keep them closest to Danzig.
Yeah.
quicker
Alternatively,
to hop over there.
Teutonic Order is now allied with Livonian Order and Mecklenburg.
Okay. That's a
which
problem,
might mean
isn't it?
you want
Because
to attack.
Mecklenburg is a Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah, but unless you attack them directly, it doesn't bring them in.
Okay.
It's more.
So should I declare
Livonian
war
Order is
now?
very powerful. Well, I mean that doesn't matter too much, but I might be tempted to go to war with Novgorod because Novgorod has no allies. So as soon as your siege in Gotland is done, I'll be tempted to go to war with Novgorod because they're very weak right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just before Muscovy gobbles up.
That sounds fine. Immoral prices. Grain prices are notoriously unstable. Anything from the weather where it is grown to incidents hurting its distribution can suddenly cause the price to rise significantly. As a result of one such sudden change, there is currently an acute shortage of grain in many of our larger cities. Desperate to feed themselves, the common people are directing their anger at the merchants who they feel are making good use of this situation to overcharge for their wares. The merchants themselves, on the other hand, claim that this is a natural result of the shortage and that there simply isn't enough bread to go around. So force the merchants to lower their prices, which means the burgher's estate loses 20 loyalty and 20 influence. Oh god, multiple things are happening. Or we should not meddle in these things. Burghers gain influence. Immediate peasant revolts. And the burghers gain 15 loyalty. Or we must pay for and distribute what bread there is, which means I lose 17 ducats, which isn't too much. And the burghers gain 10 influence and 15 loyalty. That sounds like a good trade to me.
Yeah, it could be a lot worse. Yeah,
I don't fancy fighting peasants again either. Cause...
I will use this opportunity to talk about estates.
Okay.
Because your last couple of events have had loyalty.
Yep.
If you go to your coat of arms and very right option with a gauntlet and some money and a cross, this is the estate screen.
Mm-hmm.
You have a number of estates. You'll probably have burghers, clergy, and nobility.
Yep.
They have a loyalty rating, an influence rating, and a land rating. Loyalty is loyalty. If you mouse over the bit that says, say, trade efficiency for the burghers, it will say what benefit you get.
Sure.
Like below 40% or above 60% and between the two. The scale of that benefit depends on their influence.
Right.
But whether you get it or not depends on the loyalty. If they reach 80 influence, and there are random events, as you can see, which change their loyalty and influence, if they reach 80 influence, after a certain amount of time, you'll get a disaster.
Okay.
Which will harm you if you keep the influence too high for too long. Like, you can get a peasant revolt or a noble revolt.
Yeah, so you need to keep them kind of balanced against each other.
Yes. And you can increase, the main way of increasing or decreasing the influence is by giving or taking away land.
Yeah.
We can go into more detail about it later, but basically, land owned by the clergy gives you more tax, land owned by the nobility gives you more manpower, and land owned by the burghers give you more trade power. So generally, you want to give your trade centres to the burghers, your tax havens to the clergy, and vice versa. And then finally, there's a weird thing which is literally a button, of a hand with a red button, which I think is a bit odd. Those are things you can do. Which cost you influence or loyalty. Either gives them influence or costs you loyalty to do.
Sure.
So you can force the clergy to give you money, so you can force the burghers to give you money, or you can give the clergy money. You can hire cheap advisors. You can raise additional levies if you're in a pinch. But it obviously comes with various costs.
Okay. Well, the burghers' influence is only at 34%, so there's no harm in raising them at the moment.
Nope.
Extra loyalty would be nice. It would also take me over 60% loyalty, which would give me double the trade efficiency if I read this right. Let's find out.
Yes.
Yes, and development cost minus 7.5%. So that seems to have been a good move. And it only cost me 17 ducats. Doesn't seem that much. So
yeah,
I didn't want to fight a peasant revolt.
No.
Yeah. I've also got another thing called Bavarian Inheritance. With the death of Johann of Palatinate Neumarkt in 1443, Christopher inherited the family holdings in Oberpfalz. Their importance may pale in comparison to the crowns Christopher holds in the north, but they still provide a nice source of income on the side in these dire times. In memory of Johann, tax income plus 8. Until my death. Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yep. In my personal mod, I have renamed the Palatinate to be the Rhine, and they've renamed their title to be the County Palatinate. So it strikes me, I always find it weird looking at the Duchy of the Palatinate when they were in fact the County Palatinate of the Rhine. But
yeah, that is ridiculous, as I think we can all agree.
Yeah, it's unforgivable, basically.
It's rough playing these games with you, Neill, because you're one of the few people I know who knows far more about history than me. It's terrible. And by that I mean
that maybe in part be as a result of playing games like
this. Yes, to be fair, yeah. Because most of your interest in medieval history came from starting to play CK2, didn't it?
Well, not came from, but it certainly increased the speed.
Yeah.
That we can encounter stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving forwards with the siege, I think.
Particularly as my parents were more Anglo-Saxon and earlier scholars rather than late Middle Ages.
Well, just having historical scholars as parents probably helped quite a lot anyway, Neill, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm totally unable to see exactly how the siege is going here.
Okay, well if you click on it,
actual indicator?
Let's see.
Yes.
So if you right-click, if you mouse over the -7%,
right? Okay.
It will show you a series of stages.
Yep.
What you're trying to reach is surrender. Fundamentally,
okay.
Right now you have 0% chance of surrender. Mm-hmm. But in 9 days, you will get another tick, and it might get you a bit closer.
Okay, I see.
So you currently have a -7% chance of surrender.
Yeah.
The other stages are all useful: supplies, food, water, defenders. All are basically chances that their defenders will die every tick.
Oh, there we go.
So you see, now you have a 14% chance.
I just got a thing that floated up saying walls breached in an amusingly 1990s video game font.
Yes, yeah, it does that. So you'll also notice that one thing blockading does is if you weren't blockading, they would probably gain
more supplies.
There'd be a -2 penalty.
Sure. Okay. Okay, this is all good information.
As forts tech up, you can get -9. I think is the worst fort you can get overall. Is it -11? -9 with a capital fort. They can be quite painful, as you might imagine.
Ooh, I appear to be very... I don't know if this is relative, but to become a great power, I only need 4 more great power, 4 more rating?
Yes, that is development.
Okay. Is that...
Development...
I mean, basically, I need to get above Castile on 243. I'm currently on 240. Now, to my mind, that doesn't seem a terribly great amount.
No, it's basically a province.
Okay.
It's less than a province. In fact, on that point, if you go to Holstein's diplomatic view, and if you go to the influence actions, and mouse over annex vassal, what year can you annex them in?
1454.
Then in 1454, starting about the 1450s, I would start improving Holstein's relationship of you, so that you can get them to at least 190.
And I can try and annex them.
Yes, and that does it diplomatically, because half of your subject development is added to yours for purposes of great power. Okay. Which means when you annex them, you'll gain.
I'll gain that power, and yeah. This is assuming I don't take Danzig before then, which I probably won't.
It is, but you probably will want to. You'll probably want to annex Holstein in the meantime, anyway.
Yeah.
Either that, or you don't annex Holstein, and you give them your territory, so it's easier to take territory.
Yeah.
But given that you have Norway and Sweden already, you probably want another ally, because I'm probably not the best ally in the world.
Don't do yourself down, Neill.
Just at this moment in time, I'm not quite stuck between a rock and a hard place. But
I'm over here, and stuff is gonna pop up if something happens in my territory. So why don't you talk have a bit of a talk through what's happening down here with you? Because I'm assuming you're these big, appropriately Burgundy blobs.
Yes, well, what's happening with me? Firstly, I was slightly forgetful because I was talking to you. I'm currently fabricating a claim on... Well, I'm trying to get a claim fabricated on England so that I can take Calais whilst they're distracted. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. The Burgundian territory is spread out. The Duke of Burgundy, who obviously controlled Burgundy, later managed to get territory in northern France, so bits of what were once Normandy, so Picardy, Artois, Hainaut, and Namur and Luxembourg in the Holy Roman Empire, despite the fact that I'm not part of the Holy Roman Empire. And through various clever marriages, the Dukes of Burgundy also managed to become Counts of Flanders, Counts of Holland, and Dukes of Brabant. So I also own that territory. So my goal basically is to expand a little and survive until roughly 1494, at which point I can start integrating those territories, because they're a massive drain on my diplomatic slots at the moment, which prevents me from getting allies. And not having allies means I'm fair game.
Sure.
I mean, granted, and my subjects, whilst they have to come to war with me, which is quite handy, whereas an ally doesn't always, non-independent subjects have smaller armies. So having them instead of allies is a bit of a double-edged sword.
Sure. Well, my siege is over.
Good.
Yep. I let the garrison march out, keeping their flags and arms, apparently.
Well, I would be sorely tempted then to move all of your troops towards Viborg in eastern Sweden and invade Never.
Yes, I think I will in fact do that.
Novgorod still have no allies.
Looks like I can just march overland.
Yep.
Yep, that's fine.
Yep, do that.
Cool, I've also got another event pop up, an honourable people. Few are the countries in the world who do not claim to value honour and justice, but even fewer are the countries who actually live up to these ideals. However, the lack of large-scale and everyday corruption in Denmark, my corruption is 0, has made it one of these rare places where principles matter over personal gain. We're the goodies! Even abroad, Danish expatriates are sought after for positions of trust, as our people are known for adherence to duty and rejecting attempted bribes. Who else can claim to live up to these ideals? Few indeed, gain 20 prestige. Neat. People like me. The Gotlanders don't like me.
No, Gotlanders probably don't like you. Good. Also, if you look further south to Hungary, you will see that Hungary is being besieged by the Ottomans.
Oh.
So they're about to lose some stuff.
Is this around... Are we around... that would be Wallachia anyway, wouldn't it? Good old Vlad.
Yeah, that'd be Wallachia.
Would it be around this time period though, or a bit earlier? No, I think it's about now, isn't it?
Yeah, but they've fought off the Ottomans, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's roundish now.
Yeah.
Butchering history and all that. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, Neill, with your loose grasp of the delicate intricacies of massively complex. Medieval
of Black Sea politics.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just gonna actually now that nothing's really things are happening, but you know what I mean. I'm just gonna have a look at the map. Oh, I'm not used to fog of war in the Clausewitz engine, or at least in CK2. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we have it right, but there's a. There is a DLC that allows you to randomize the Americas. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
And I have not enabled it.
No, that's fine. Interesting, though. That must be very interesting.
Indeed.
I'm going to move my fleet over there as well. It occurs to me I should have already done that. To blockade Neva.
Indeed.
Somewhere nearby. Yeah. Movement seems a bit faster in this than CK2. I don't know if that's actually
now the
correct
question,
or not.
the real question is, can I go to war with England without bringing in their allies?
Who currently are their allies?
Well,
Portugal
is the main one that concerns me.
Tyrone, Sligo? Sligo, I assume, in Portugal.
Yes.
Sligo, Ireland? I think it is, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Those two don't concern me. It's more Portugal.
But will Portugal come all the way over to France to bottle you?
It could.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough.
Right. And I'm now going to declare war on England in 3 days.
Okay.
3,
Fair
2...
enough.
I'm just going to let my vassals do it because I can't get there.
There's
They'll all come in.
What is the oh god, I can't even remember my grammar terms. The possessive name of Novgorod. Novgorodian?
Novgorodian.
Novgorodian, okay. Ooh, yep, I saw that. I saw that war kick in. So they've got...
A warmonger.
They've got a wee bit of a fleet here. I don't really know what's going to happen with that. Should I bring my other fleet with my light ships up? Should I stop them monkeying around near Lubeck and bring them up here? Wherever they are.
Yeah, I would move them there just to try and kill them if it... Although it doesn't really matter. I would be almost tempted to park your ships.
Just park them in the Gulf?
No, I was in dock them.
Oh, right, okay.
Because it's probably not worth fighting them, to be honest.
Okay, but so just go over land into Neva?
Yeah.
From Viborg?
Just have a look, because you probably do have a stronger fleet, but it'll be a bit tight because they have 3 heavies. Yeah, they probably have a stronger fleet, so I'd just dock them somewhere.
Alright, okay.
I would dock them somewhere which has a fort, so they can't, so they can't besiege them and force them out.
Scotland?
Yeah, Gotland. They're not going to besiege Gotland anytime soon.
Okay, so with my light ships, should I send them back to what they were doing?
Where are you?
Protecting trade in Lubeck. Or should I dock them as well?
If you click on them,
yep.
There is an option for go home at war.
Go home at war.
I would use that option.
Go home at war. Whereabouts is that?
Top right.
Top right.
There's a checkbox.
Go home at war. There we go. Okay. Yep. Cool.
Cool.
Okay. And then send them on the mission, but they will go home at war. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes. Okay. And then you send them to protect trade.
And then when I'm not at war, they'll go out again and do the trade thing again.
Yeah. Exactly.
Cool. Okay.
So I'd wait for your first fleet to dock, and then I'd declare war.
And then I'll march in. Okay. Yep. Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good. We haven't touched anything to do with like ideas and things yet. Is that kind of jumping the gun? That'll be a little while. Okay.
Yeah.
Like tech in CK2, it takes a while to kick in.
Yes, because you have to get to tech level 5 before you can get your first idea.
Okay. Wow, I could adopt a plutocratic administration. Amazing. Sorry, I'm just
I wouldn't do that.
Things. Yeah.
It's fine.
Oh my god, there's
in
so
fact,
many
on that screen,
the
missions and decisions screen, they're again it's similar to CK2 except they're more permanent.
Right. And they change the way your nation functions a bit and stuff like that.
Yes, most of them give you bonuses, basically, but some of them fundamentally change things more substantially.
Yeah. All right, that's fine. What are you doing? Oh, you seem to have followed that order. Rather than...
Shocking! Followed the order.
But after I already changed it back.
Oh, okay. Admittedly, that's much less useful.
Yeah. So I've given them their mission again. But they don't seem to be moving. Like, I've told them to go protect trade in Lubeck. Maybe I didn't. No, I obviously didn't click it properly. So now I've got to wait for them to go, and then I'll march into Neva. Yeah, I definitely can't see any Novgorodian armies around. You would have thought they'd have clicked onto the fact that there was a huge army on their border.
Nah, I think they're a bit worried about the Muscovites at the moment.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I think I'm ready. So Novgorod, declare war. I have no diplomats to send. How do I recall a diplomat?
Click on one of the diplomats and it should take you to them to do just that.
One of my diplomats. Okay, well, should I be able to see them on the actual map?
No, as in the top right where it's got the diplomats listed. If you click on one of them there, it will take you to where they're doing
the nation
something.
Where they are. Okay. Well, I can probably take the one away from Muscovy.
Stop.
I can take the one away from Muscovy. So go into the diplomacy screen. Stop relation improvement. There we go. Okay, confirm.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's going to take a while for him to turn up again, right?
Most likely, yes.
Yeah. Well, he's come back from Muscovy, so I would assume he'll be a while. That's fine. We can wait. In fact, looking at the clock, perhaps we should leave this as a War with Novgorod cliffhanger.
Exciting.
One of those classic Novgorod
ones.
War cliffhangers that you get in video games.
Yes.
I think Doom had one.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So thanks for watching the second episode where things actually happened. Let us know if you're enjoying watching this. If you want to see other kind of, I don't know what to call these, tuition or whatever, something. I think we called it something else for Civ, but the world has escaped me because I'm a professional. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, etc. And we'll see you for episode 3. Bye, everybody.
Bye.